Hello and welcome to draft number 19 on the July ranked ladder for Modern Horizons 3. I'm Mike. I will be commenting through today. We are coming off the back of a very cool triple amped raptor, triple cranial ram, quad transmigrant affinity deck that we trophied with. That deck was a lot of fun to play. We beat two Wrath of the Skies. We lost to a Writhing Chrysalis because we punted. And yeah, that deck was really cool. Looking forward to the next one. So here, looking at this pack, not a lot of standouts here. I would say the Conduit Goblin and the Repurposer are probably my two favorite cards out of this pack. Probably gonna grab the Repurposer, as I'd rather take a monocolored card than a gold card. Pack one, pick one. Barring it being something absolutely insane, but yeah, and there we go. So we do grab the repurposer there. The rare was Ugin's Labyrinth, which not something we're really looking to take. We get past an Amped Raptor, which, as my last deck indicated, I'm very high on and will gladly first or second pick an Amped Raptor. Also, red green, very good color combination, so a nice start if we can kind of ride out this red green wind up in the Eldrazi deck. There's a Fanged Flames to follow up the Amped Raptor. Very nice. Not really wheeling anything out of this pack, unfortunately. No red cards, no green cards. Looks like a lot of black plus Aerial Auxiliary. But there was also the Strength that I suppose Modal Dual-Faced card can be a green land in a pinch. Um, this pack kind of sucks. Warp Tusker is not really something I'm looking to pick up right now. I think Witch Enchanter is probably my favorite card out of this pack. Eldrazi Repurposer is the only green card we've seen so far. I kind of want to just grab this Witch Enchanter, if I'm honest. Let's see what decision July me made. We're thinking about it. Witch Enchanter, Warp Tusker, Witch Enchanter. Yeah, so Warp Tusker, if we just want to try to like hard commit to this green Witch Enchanter, like I said, I think it's just the best card. And yeah, I'm glad I made that pick. I think that's the correct pick in that pack as it is. Signature Slam, happy to grab it. I'm not going to stress missing out on a Warp Tusker by taking a Witch Enchanter. So even if we wind up cutting this Witch Enchanter, I don't think I passed anything particularly relevant. Double Repurposer here, plus an It That Heralds the End. So this pack obviously had some quality to it. That double repurposer is coming around for sixth pick. Card's quite good, and another repurposer, seventh pick. So yeah, we feel quite a bit better about being in green. We can kind of see what's coming around between red or white. Here we have, I think, the Watchdog versus the Skyclaw. I think Watchdog is a significantly better card than the Skyclaw, and we can just kind of see what's up. Either, there's a non-zero chance we splash for like the Fanged Flames, another Watchdog on the wheel. So that was a pick. Yeah, a last pick Watchdog plus a wheeled Watchdog. Sorry, last pick as in the eighth pack. The last pack I would see in pack one. Green white dual land or fetch land in the landscape is perfectly fine. Foul Strike is okay. I think I'd rather have better mana though, given the option. There's a Foul Strike anyway. So yeah, this is looking like we're probably going to wind up cutting the red cards. Double Faithful Watchdog, Witch Enchanter, and then, wheeling a couple white cards on the back end. Green-white is not my favorite color combination, but it's certainly fine. This pack, Scurry of Gremlins is very good. Glyph Elemental, Basking Brood-Scale, and the Witness, Evolution Witness, are kind of the cards I'm looking at. I'm quite partial to Glyph Elemental, honestly. those Scurry of Gremlins, if we do want to splash for like the Fang Flames or the Amped Raptor, is still on the table. But yeah, I like just grabbing the Elemental here. Just take just take the very good 2-drop and kind of keep it moving. We have Disciple of Freyles, Mandibular Kite, and the Hydra, I think, is cards that I'd be considering here. I like having the modal dual-faced cards. It lets you kind of cheat your land count a little bit. It's been a while since we've talked about that. It's just kind of commonly accepted, but just feel like I should mention it every now and again. Mandibular Kite just letting you come out to a nice aggressive start. And then obviously the Hydra giving you that punch in the late game. Less good with Amped Raptor specifically, but if we're on green-white, if we're playing Selesnya, then I don't think it matters much. We took the Nyxborn Hydra, and here we're grabbing a second Glyph Elemental. And I think that, yeah, that kind of solidifies that we're just not going to be playing these red cards, I think. So, Nyxborn Unicorn, the landscape is okay, and Strength of the Harvest is okay. I believe that landscape finds white-green. I think that's the Naya one. Yeah. Yeah, we take the Strength, just another modal dual-faced card that we're happy to grab. Thraben Charm here, just very versatile. We could also grab this Revitalizing Repast. I think both are perfectly acceptable. But Thraben Charm being a piece of removal, which green-white is going to be a little bit lacking on. If we are going to stick to green-white, then having a couple Thraben Charms is kind of where we want to be. Here we grab a Warp Tusker, so we do have one on our top end. The Basking Brood Scale pick 7 is very nice for us. It actually also makes me think that there's a non-zero chance we wheel the other one from pick 1 of this pack. And we do, actually. So Brood Scale number 2 or Mandibular Kite number 1. I think that's kind of close, but Brood Scale is just a tremendous card. It's one of the better 2-drops in the format, I think. So, yeah, this pack has worked out pretty well for us. I think we've kind of successfully found our lane. We don't have a ton by way of like raw power level. You know, we're not sitting on Guide of Souls or Ocelot Pride or a Johnny or anything like that. Excuse me. But we are sitting on like a pile of reasonable cards going up our curve. So, 2 Thraben Charms, a Wing It, and a Strength of the Harvest. And then a Signature Slam as removal. So, one combat trick, one, aura, and then 3 removal spells. We could still use a little bit more, but this is not terrible. Angel of the Ruins, probably not going to make the cut, but there it is just in case. Waiting on the last card here, and then going into pack 3. So here we go. All right, so we have an option for a Scurry of Gremlins again, so we could pick one up if we wanted to splash it. We have another Basking Brood Scale. But yeah, here's Kudo King Among Bears. And if we go through our creature count, Making Faithful Watchdog, a base 2/2, means it's a 5/5. Basking Brood Scale still adapts to be a 3/3, but it also makes a 2/2 spawn token. Repurposer goes from being a 3/3 and a 0/1 to being a pair of 2/2s, which is a slight upgrade. Realistically, every creature that we have so far in this draft benefits by Kudo being in play, except for the Warped Tusker and the Angel of the Ruins. And, those cards are not cards that I necessarily even need to run. Passing up this Amped Raptor here. This is not a low curve deck where we want to try to splash an Amped Raptor anyway. We will gladly take a second Witch Enchanter, though. Um, what did we grab over the Ampteraptor? It was a Malevolent Rumble, sure. So here we have Annoyed Altasaur. We have Colossal Dread Mask. We have the Golden Tail Mentor. And then just another repurposer. Um, I don't have much that I'm equipping or enchanting, so like the Mentor is not at its best. The Altasaur is real likely to just cascade into like a 2-drop, which isn't terribly exciting. Here's another Watchdog. Like there's a Chrysalis there, but again, like we don't have the mana already to make splashing red easy. Like this deck is very much like we are sitting on a pile of modal dual faced cards, so we're going to get to kind of cheat our land count a little bit, and we only have the one landscape, and I don't believe it's the Naya one anyway. So just continuing on taking Windswept Heath is great. There's another Watchdog though. Uh, 4 Watchdogs is a lot of Watchdogs. That's a whole lot of Watchdogs. They play so well with the Kudo. Yeah, that's close. That's really close. Oh, jeez. That's so many Watchdogs. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Take the Evolution Witness. Wheel another Brood Scale. This draft is wild. Like we're not getting the big Eldrazi top end. We haven't seen it. Like we haven't seen Breaker of Creations or anything like that. Colossal Dread Mask is a great pickup there. The Germ being a 2/2 means it's an 8/8 if the Kudo is down. Otherwise, obviously, it's still just itself a 6/6 Trampler. But yeah, the Kudo King Among Bears just makes literally every creature in the deck, besides the Warp Tusker and the Angel, a better creature than it is at its base. Which makes the Kudo kind of exciting. Like I'm pretty stoked to see how that plays out. Draftsmith thinks that the red splash is worthwhile. I'm inclined to disagree, I think. What it wants me to play the Amped Raptor, the Fanged Flames, and just make my mana worse for those 2 cards. I think I'd rather just be on Selesnya. Just make sure that my mana is better, I think. Maybe that's wrong. Like we are giving up a bunch of landscapes in favor, or I'm sorry, we're giving up a bunch of landscapes which do help out the Glyph Elemental as well, Glyph Elementals as well. But I don't see making my mana worse for Fang Flames and Amped Raptor being a particularly winning strategy. We have no other ways of making energy, so like one Amped Raptor, and it's going to be like 50-50 whether it hits or misses, is not my idea of a good time if I'm going to splash colors to make it happen. And then Fang Flames is obviously good, but same thing, right? I don't want to make my mana worse to have one decent removal spell. And I say decent, like I'm happy to take Fang Flames early in a draft, but it's still, you can't kill some of the big Eldrazi with it. You can't kill some of the major hard to deal with, creatures in the format. You're never going to kill a Writhing Chrysalis. You're almost never going to kill like a Psychic Frog. Like Fang Flames just doesn't quite do what you need it to do sometimes. So all right. So Draftsmith says cut the Warp Tuskers, cut the Wingets, and cut the Angel. That's kind of what I was saying. The Warp Tusker and the Angel I wasn't necessarily particularly high on. I think I kind of would prefer to have at least one of the Wingets left in the deck. Just have that combat trick ready, but that's all right. So what do we have? 15. It's suggesting 15 lands with 3 modal dual-faced cards. We do, in fact, have a pile of 2-drops. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it's 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 13, 13 to 11, 14 to 11. Yeah, so it's something like 14 hits with Amped Raptor to 11 misses if we were trying to splash the Amped Raptor. I think that's a little bit too much risk for my liking. Like I said, it puts the Amped Raptor at close to 50-50 as to whether or not it's just a Goblin Piker or actually worth playing. And then some of the hits are maybe ill-timed cards, like an ill-timed Thraben Charm or an ill-timed Fanged Flames. If we are splashing red, we're playing the Fanged Flames. I think I prefer just the Selesnya build. Leading on the tapped land, I don't really want to play the landscape out right away. The tapped land, like, we want to hit 3 guaranteed. We'd rather get the tapped land down now, play the forest on turn 2, which lets us play our Bear Dad, and then we can curve that into the repurposers. So, mountain from the opponent. So, Bear Dad is very likely going to die right away. Yeah, unlikely that Kudo gets to stick around here. But we can attack. The attack is just going to happen, and then play out a pair of 2/2s. So yeah, as I was mentioning during deck construction, Eldrazi Repurposer is a slight upgrade with Kudo in play. Instead of getting 3/4 worth of power and toughness, you get 4/4 worth of power and toughness. So just 1 extra power. And, turning it over 2 bodies when Kudo also affects your opponent, right? So, like, the opponent also only has 2/2s here. So in for 6. Opponent still doesn't do anything. We have both Thraben Charm up, depending on what opponent plays, or Broodscale Adapt. That doesn't really matter. So, yep, shoot one of them. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. This is lethal. Okay, so we adapt here, untap, Thraben Charm down, one of them, Signature Slam, the other one. Shoot this. Signature Slam this. They can sacrifice it, it doesn't matter. This card has 2 targets and still will put the +1/+1 counter on and attack for exactly 12. So yeah, Kudo there adding an extra 3 power to my board total. 2 for the Broodscale and 1 for the Repurposer. And that coming in to be exactly lethal on my turn 5. So, way to go, Kudo. That was kind of what I was hoping this deck would be capable of. That was really cool to get to play. Kudo King Among Bears, not a card that I've seen a lot in these drafts, and certainly haven't been Selesnya often enough that even if I have seen him to be particularly interested. And then, even on top of that, it's not all that often that my decks are comprised entirely of creatures that benefit from Kudo. Again, 100% of the cards in the deck are enhanced by Kudo being in play, and that's really cool. So, turn 2 here. Probably just going to jam a Watchdog. And then try to get the Glyph Elemental bestowed at some point in the near future. We could also try to just curve up, since we have a 3-drop, instead of wasting a mana, we could just try to curve up to the Repurposer, but getting the Glyph Elemental down to make the Watchdog a little beefier. Not bad. Alright, so opponent discarded, looks like 2 cards to the Tamios, and one of them was a Deep Analysis. I am slightly less interested now in bestowing, since I'd rather just force this trade. Just get in with the Watchdog. I'm going to have to get through the Kami eventually anyway, so let's just try to push our way through. The opponent looked like they moused over the Saga there. The trigger would have been last turn, so. Alright, Repurposer, make some duders. Next turn we can potentially go like Glyph Elemental, bestow, land, trigger, Kudo, attack with everything. Something along those lines. We'll see what opponent wants to do. They turn their Kami into a 2-2, but that doesn't matter. Like, it's already going to trade with whatever it wants to trade with. And this just lets me attack with, like, my spawn token, basically. Alright, drawing 2 cards at the cost of some life. This makes sense to me. Another land drop, so the quest gets a little bigger, or a little closer to animating. Free activation because they cast the Deep Analysis and pass the turn, most likely. I assume that they're leaving up 2 mana for a clue. All the black removal that I can think of is 3 mana, other than like Wither and Bloom. But if they want to Wither and Bloom any of the creatures in play, I don't really care at all about that. So there's my land drop. Yep, here's the Kudo, which reduces the size of the Repurposer by 1, but increases the size of the Watchdog by 2 and the spawn token by 2. So I guess, like, worst case here is they have Wither and Bloom, they target the Kudo. They just eat my spawn token, but I don't think that bothers me at all. If they do that, then we're -2 damage from the Watchdog, +1 damage from the Repurposer, so it's still fine. Anyway, they trade. We get in for some damage. The quest is at, I think, 3 counters right now. Yeah. Land makes it 4, so it's 2 to activate. So it's Animate Dead, basically. Wormcoil Larva. Okay. That's a problem. That's just going to get to trade with a lot of my cards. You know, this is a 2-2, then the pair of 2-2s get to trade with my stuff, then they get it back with the quest, and then it gets to start all over again. I think I still need to keep pressuring them, unfortunately. Okay. So if they block here, we get our Glyph Elemental back. We get to turn our Repurposer into a spawn, so we don't actually lose any of our board per se. Hydra Trainer gets to be a 2-2 instead of a 1-1, still has Adapt. Brood Scale plus Adapt is just more 2-2s. I want to play it and adapt right now because my opponent is tapped out. I'd rather not pay the adapt cost and then get hit by any kind of a removal spell that wastes my mana. Alright, so Quest for the Necropolis is 1 mana to bring back this Wormcoil Larva now, which very likely is going to happen. That said, Kudo is making it so that all these random spawn tokens that we've been able to get are trading with real cards or the tokens coming off of like the Wormcoil Larva. So as bad as it is that opponent is able to Wormcoil Larva twice, you know, they're getting 6 bodies out of it. The amount that they're setting us back is not as bad as it could be, I suppose. The Sentry could be bad here. If the Sentry connives and becomes a 3/3. Yeah, and it did. That makes my life a little bit more difficult. So, especially when they have multiple Death Touch creatures, right? So, we can wait for them to attack and just gang block it. What do we do this turn, is the question. If we really want to, we could play the Dread Mask. It costs us 2 of our spawn tokens. I don't love any of my attacks here. I really... what do I even need to draw? Thraben Charm gets rid of the Larva or the Sentry. Alright, so Death Touchers on the 3/3s. So they're going to go... We both lose our creatures. They get back 2 creatures. I think we just want to use as much of our mana as we can, so that's using the Repurposer, I think. Just 2 bodies. There's nothing in the graveyard I really want to get back right this minute, I don't think. Alright. We do have the ability to activate this Witness if we need to. And it is another creature that can get some counters, so we can double block on the Sentry and adapt the Witness. And either trade or win the fight, depending. Sneaky Snacker, sure. Apologies for the noise if it's picking up on the microphone. They have decided to run a leaf blower or something outside of the apartment, so apologies. Alright, what is that? A Dreadmobile, I believe? Not too bad with the Sneaky Snacker there. Okay. Right up to my door. Love that. Okay. I think they're going away. I can smell the gas through the door. That's ridiculous. Okay. Alright, what are we doing? We still haven't drawn another mana source. We still can play the Dread Mask, but I don't think we want to just yet. In a perfect world, we clear the last Death Toucher before we do anything with that. But maybe not. I don't know. Repurposer seems like the safest play, right? Like, just a pair of Grizzly Bears. Here's 3 mana for 2 Grizzly Bears. And we still have the mana up to activate the Witness if we want to. I still don't think that we want to activate the Witness. If we can get this Dread Mask down with enough mana to be moving it around. Like, it costs 5 mana to equip. If we can just go from 2/2 to 2/2 and just keep attacking with the Dread Mask, I think that puts us in a pretty good spot. Unless our opponent can keep getting more Death Touch creatures, but right now at least they have one, and we don't mind trading the Germ and getting damage in through that. So if our opponent kills the mask, we also can potentially save the witness to get it back. There's a Shadow Spinner. Shadow Spinner can just keep rebuying the Sneaky Snacker, so the Dreadmobile suddenly being able to sacrifice it is not terrible. We also... There's a land. Land is good. We also have a lot of blockers and can just trade with the Shadow Spinner at any point. Alright. So we drew a land. So we can just play out the last two cards in our hand, the Hydra Tamer and the Repurposer if we want to. Or we can play out the Dread Mask. We lose one of our 4 spawn tokens. Yeah, I kind of like just flooding the board with things. Like Toxic Deluge would suck, but that's just kind of what it is. Alright. Interesting. So not playing the Hydra Tamer, we're going to take the opportunity where they tapped out to evolve this Evolution Witness. Just make sure we get this adapt to work. I guess out of these... Yeah. The Brood Scale is 4 mana for a 3/3 and a 2/2. Whereas the Repurposer is 3 mana for 2 2/2s. That maybe turns into another 2/2 later. But just getting the counters on the Witness while they're tapped out turns off Wither and Bloom. And gives us a large blocker for if the Shadow Spinner does decide it wants to get froggy. The Sneaky Snacker is likely going to keep attacking us. That's fine. What we need to do... Yeah, there's another Death Toucher. What we need to do is get this Dread Mask down and start trying to get some damage across. We need to kind of try to come across the finish line here. They have 2 life-linking worms. The Shadow Spinner has lifelink. The Kami can get activated at some point. Okay. They're cracking both of their clues. So. That's a free activation on the Kami here, yeah. So 14-15, probably attack with the Sneaky Snacker. At some point we can just turn our whole board sideways and force some trade-offs. Their Sentry obviously gets to live through that. Okay, Thraben Charm's not bad. Thraben Charm's very not bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers for the opponent versus 5, 6, 7, 8 attackers for me, not counting the Kudo because I don't really want to attack with it. Attacking with the Kudo I think is way worse than for me because I lose all of the power on the spawn tokens. Yeah. Okay. I like this. Attack with everything other than the Kudo and see if my opponent wants to trade off some of their board. If they trade with my Repurposers, we just get more spawns. If they trade off with my spawns, then I get to keep my real creatures, which is better if the Kudo dies. And yeah, we have the follow up to play, whether it's the Dread Mask or uh, Brood Scale plus Adapt, or what any number of a couple different options here. We also have the Thraben Charm to make sure that nothing absolutely egregiously bad happens. So, Snacker's very likely to just trade off with something, since it can come back later. They have the Death Touch worm on our 4/4 Witness, which is kind of expected. Lifelinkers trading off with spawn tokens, very okay with that. So it looks like anything that they're trading off, they're trying to trade off with the spawn tokens. Okay, there's a double block on the sentry, or on the repurposer. We'll just kill a sneaky snacker here. Obviously, the sentry being a 3/3. Weird double block. I wonder if they meant to block the other repurposer and misclicked. Not quite sure. But, like, these are all trades that I'm very okay with. It does, in fact, pare down the board some. So there go all the worms. We get in for a little bit of damage. We replace one of the spawns that died. So we're down a witness, a repurposer, and a spawn token total. We got in for some damage. We cleared the board of like the pesky worms and whatnot. Yeah, I think getting down a Dread Mask here, like we lose one of our spawn tokens, but we get an 8/8 with Trample. They still have the Kami that can trade off with the Germ, but then we can start moving the Dread Mask around, and spawn tokens carry the Dread Mask just as well as Germ tokens do. So this puts our opponent in a spot where, because of the Kudo making all of their creatures low toughness, the large trampling creature is at an advantage. And we still have the Thraben Charm to try to blow out any kind of large blocks. If they don't do anything, like if, well, all right, another Wormcoil Larva. So this is the third one of the game, second different copy of the card. And that's a lot more Death Touch and Lifelink to truck through. I think we can, but yeah, it is tough to get through all of it. So, um, attack with the Dread Mask. They block probably just with the larva. Take 6, gain 2, go to, so take 4, go to 7, trade with the Germ. Okay, lethal take throwdown on the Kudo obviously makes the power and toughnesses shift pretty wildly. So we lose quite a bit of our power and toughness. We lose 2, 4, 6, 8, and gain 1. Okay, so they have 2 Death Touch creatures again. Shadow Spinner gets to attack here. Draw 2, discard 2, get back the Sneaky Snacker. Yep, trigger there. You got it. We are for sure blocking. Activate, Kami. Yep. So, I believe Shadow Spinner, no menace, just lifelink, right? Yeah. So just eat it with our germ. They go to 15. And the land is fine. Um, I think we attack with the repurposer here, right? Like definitely with the germ. And yeah, we're okay trading off the repurposer for any of these creatures. Obviously the vampire we don't get to trade with, but that's fine. Okay, block there. So that's fine. Yeah. Dreadmask gets in. They go to 12. Our repurposer becomes a spawn token. Their worm becomes 2 worms. Unfortunately, we have not been able to stop this at any point. The good news is we at least still have our Dread Mask. So, they've gained a lot of life this game, right? They've activated Kami 2 or 3 times. Worm has gotten in combat 3 times. The life linking worm tokens both got into combat. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. They've gained at least 15 life this game. So, yeah. Lots and lots of worm. They are attacking with the Dreadmobile. Interesting. Snacker for sure. Vampire makes an amount of sense. Dreadmobile is interesting. So I kind of just want to put the brood scale on a vampire. Okay. Sure. This stops them from gaining life. Putting the... I don't know. Putting the brood scale on the Dreadmobile. I guess it's fine because we can sacrifice the token blocking the vampire to pay for the adapt cost. And then we still have Thraben Charm up. So, like, opponent sacrifices something, theoretically, to the Dreadmobile so that it wins this combat, and then we can shoot it down. Still with the Thraben Charm. Okay, so they lose the life linking worm, I think. We get our spawn token back. And then the vampire's not dealing any damage. We're taking 2 from the snacker, and now it's whether we want to make our brood scale survive, or if we just want to kill off like the Kami. Okay, so we're gonna protect our brood scale here. Which is fine. We did get them to sacrifice a real creature in order to save their Dread Mask, or I'm sorry, their Dreadmobile. And then we in turn protected our creature by removing the Dreadmobile. So we lost 2 spawn tokens, and opponent lost Jesus Christ. Welcome back, fourth Wormcoil larva of the game. I missed you, I think, or something. That's so many Wormcoil larvas, like so many. Alright, Witch Enchanter's not the worst. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst. I think we can attack with our 3/3 and the Dread Mask. It's very likely that the Wormcoil larva blocks something, and then we kill off the remaining Death Touch worm. Yeah, this just kind of is what it is. Sure. Notably, opponent is top decking, so this could be worse. Sure. Yeah, this is fine. Crunch, crunch. Life total stays the same because of lifelink. We lose our germ. They get 2 more idiots. I think, yeah, we Witch Enchanter down. Which one? I guess that one of the Death Touch ones. Just get it out of here. Sure. The Kami is dangerously close to just killing us. Like, if they untap, if they draw land for turn, attack with the Sneaky Snacker, and pass, we have to kill them this turn or we're just dead. So, like, land is actually a very good draw for them here. Sure. Vampire. Snacker. Yeah. So Witch Enchanter plus a spawn in front of the vampire, I guess. Yep. Just trade off. We can't stop them from gaining life, so it doesn't much matter, but we might as well use the mana to adapt the Hydra Trainer here. So, still a trade. We take 2. Opponent goes to 15. They have 1 activation of the Kami. They drew the land. They shouldn't have adapted then, right? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. They do it once. We go to 6. If we don't have if we don't have a way of dealing with the Sneaky Snacker here, then we're dead anyway. So, all right. Equip to that. Was the Signature Slam enough to get me out of this, though? Like, that's the question that we didn't actually ask. So, we attack, attack, attack. We can exert, which is +3. So we could put that on the Trampling Boy. Makes 9. Huh. Four Wormcoil larvas is hard to beat. Okay, so opponent is not likely to block with the Kami. They're at functionally 17 because they have the mana to activate right now. 19 because they will likely block with the life linking worm. Okay. So unfortunately this makes us like this specific equip and attack. There's no way we can cast Signature Slam now. And that leaves us dead, I believe. We're at 8. They end step activate the Kami. attack with the Sneaky Snacker, and then double activate Kami. 86420. Yeah. So this has to happen. I don't know what I just did there. Oh, sure. Alright, we killed the Kami. We ate the life linking worm. Fortunately, the signature slam. I don't know why I targeted a spawn that was being sacrificed, but the signature slam says target creature and all creatures with +1/+1 counters. So, like, they still got to do the thing, but I can't block here, right? 3. I don't want to trade off. I guess I do. Alright, we're losing the Hydra in favor of 2 life. Alright, Malevolent Rumble's not bad. We hit nothing but whatever. Here's more bodies. Attack with the 3/3. I don't like this. Isn't enough time to beat the Sneaky Snacker. Is the problem? Excuse me, is the problem. So they attack with their menace creature if they want to. We double block. It's fine. The Snacker gets us down to 2. We need an out to the Snacker right now. What do we have? We have Nyxborn Hydra Thraben Charm. Yeah, Nyxborn Hydra Thraben Charm are our 2 outs to the Snacker. If we don't draw either of those, the game is over. Sure. So no difference. We still need to beat the... Yep, that won't do it. So, good game. We tried real hard. Alright, we at least got the polite GG back. Appreciate that, opponent. Yeah. So 4 Wormcoil Larvas, 2 Kamis, lots of Death Touch, lots of Lifelink, and we are a removal light deck. We drew 2 of our pieces of removal, plus 1 of the Witch Enchanters. Yeah, it is what it is. That game was real grindy. I think I could have played it a little bit better, but at the end of the day, that was going to be a tough game. All right, Watchdog fight. Rumble showing Path and Horrific Assault. So, do they want to land or do they want the Path? Land it is. Would they like to trade? Would I like to accept the trade? I don't think so. We have a Glyph Elemental to put on ours. Yeah. And then might as well get the landscape down. And now we in. So, okay. All right. Fair enough. In the green-white mirror, the biggest dog wins, I guess. I don't know. That seemed like a very, very early concession, but who knows? We'll take the W. Definitely not going to complain about a free win. So moving on. I don't like this hand. I don't like this hand at all. Yeah, okay, good. I really don't love this hand either, but at least we have the Malevolent Rumble to dig for a white source. Hydra Trainer is the weakest card. I agree with that. That's not a white source. Hopefully we just naturally draw it so we can get the Watchdog down on 2. especially versus a Conduit Goblin. I would really like to get the Watchdog down. We did not. All right. Well, Marumble it is. Um, we need the white source, no doubt about it. We can take the landscape, but that's 2 steps to get a white source, so we don't have time to get the glyph elemental down. So, right now, I think we're probably just going to go up the curve here. So, like, repurposer next turn. Yeah, so now a pair of 3 power creatures attacking. I love this start from the Boros deck, like from the side of playing the Boros deck. Being able to go Goblin into Unicorn and get that pump to the power that triggers the Mentor always feels pretty good. Um, we will now try to trade off with something here with the Repurposer. Charge Bug. So they have a pile of 2-drops, but seemingly no third land. Bug has haste and now probably going to give menace to something. The Unicorn, sure. So that we can't just eat it. I don't. So I think we can trade off the Repurposer for the Conduit Goblin here without losing a spawn token. Or we can trade the spawn for the Conduit Goblin. I kind of like just killing the thing that gives haste, if I'm honest. We also get to play our Dread Mask next turn. And this, yeah, like this leaves significantly less power in play. Drawing the Witch Enchanter is pretty big. It's a way to clear one of these 2 creatures. So now we have a 6/6 versus our opponent's 2 lands and a Witch Enchanter that is a Flametongue Kavu. So if our opponent continues to have mana trouble, this sets us up to get our opponent's board out of here and turn the corner pretty quickly. Okay. So if they... There's a mountain for them. If they attack with both and give menace, they did not. Okay. So this is great. So we can either double spell and play like Watchdog Glyph Elemental, or we can Witch Enchanter down the Menace, the Charge Bug, which I think is more important than the 2/2 with Mentor. If we're going to play the Strength as a land, we want to get the Glyph Elemental down first. Yeah, we can either set up like a blockade of creatures, or we can just Flametongue Kavu the Charge Bug. Yeah, I think we attack for 6 either way. Like, there's very little chance our opponent's blocking here. Yeah, I like just Witch Enchanter. I think this is correct. Kill the Charge Bug. We don't have to worry about Menace anymore. We are playing the land preemptively, even though we don't get the counter on the Glyph Elemental, because this lets us next turn play Watchdog and Signature Slam. And this like lets us potentially close out the game quickly, since we are at 9 and do have to be worried about any kind of hasty damage or direct burn. There are obviously Ghostfire, Slash, and others in the set that can just go face. So we want to try to make sure that we don't just die. You know, like if our opponent goes Wing It here and then untaps, and then uses and make some energy, and then, yeah, or Scurry of Gremlins, which can obviously do quite a bit. So there's 4 energies, so do they activate right now? Probably, yeah. Attack with everything. We're going to trade the Witch Enchanter for the Unicorn, and just block, yeah. We'll take 2. Thraben Charm is fine. Watchdog and attack for 6 again. Yep. Like I said, the Dread Mask gives us a clock. Like, it makes sure that the game doesn't last more than a couple more turns, and we really need that right now. So, like, worst case for us is opponent has like a second Scurry of Gremlins would be pretty awful. If they do, I think we shoot down the 2/2 in response. And then they only get 3 energy, so they can't activate right away. Okay, Conduit Goblin resolves. Amped Raptor, sure. So I think we'll just see what they hit here. We can't. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. Yeah, so what we're doing here is Thraben Charm in response to the Amped Raptor, because opponent can choose not to cast whatever they hit. And then they would have the 4 energy to activate the Scurry and have 4 attackers versus my 1 blocker. So hitting the Scurry of Gremlins there, making sure that opponent can't pluck or activate and just kill me right here. Unfortunately, that means we're not getting to clear any of our opponent's creatures, and yeah, they get to kind of serve in with this Amped Raptor for free. So we're down to 3, and opponent has a substantial board. I think so. We might have been able to trick our opponent here into losing the game. If we had bestowed the Glyph Elemental onto the Germ token and played our land and attacked, there's a chance that our opponent. Okay, there's the second Scurry. There's a chance that our opponent either just blocks with 1 creature or doesn't block because it's not lethal. And then we get the +1/+1 counter from the Signature Slam and get all 8 damage in. Which, given how wide our opponent's board was, we have no lifelink. I think it's better to go for the win however we can get it, rather than trying to go wide and hoping our opponent doesn't attack, because they're going to attack with everything. So I think the play there should have been bestow onto the Germ token, play my land for turn. It's now a 7/7 with trample, attack, and then depending on how opponent blocks, we Signature Slam, put a +1/+1 counter on it, making it 8, and then if they only blocked with 1 creature, we kill the creature they blocked with. Trample goes over for the full 8. If they didn't block, obviously, then we don't have to worry about it, and it goes over for 8. So I think I could have potentially won that game by I don't know if tricking is the right word, but by getting my opponent to think that this is just the last attack because I'm dead on board. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, onto this game. Opponent has a 3/4 Nyxborn Hydra. We're attacking with a pair of 3/3s. If they decide to block with their Hydra, we get to +1/+1 counter and kill the Evangel while also eating the Hydra in combat. Opponent has chosen not to block, which is fine. I think we just let the damage go through and see what they do. Slam and Thraben Charm are both instants, so Brood Scale, pass. I think it's just Brood Scale, pass. Like, if they tap out to play a creature, we can either shoot down the Hydra or the Evangel, depending on what we care about. Trigger. Like, none of this stops me from just killing this Hydra, so. We have 5 mana. We have 6 mana, technically. Yeah, this is fine. So we can... What? Shoot down the 4/5. Yeah. Attack with all the 3/3s. They block one of them. And then we... Sure. That's fine. So we Signature Slam the Repurposer, which will now trade with the Oozewag. And... Sure, we just clear the Evangel regardless. So unfortunately that means one of our 3/3s was blocked, but that's okay. We still get to get in for some damage. Our board is still here. They have the Mandibular Kite with a Germ, and that's it. And yeah, they're out of here. So that game was very fast. To be fair, I also spent the first 4 turns of the game talking about the last game, so apologies there. I think I had a line to win and didn't take it or didn't see it. And if my opponent just blocks with a bunch of stuff, then we potentially aren't winning. That said, if my opponent blocks with a bunch of stuff, we don't do anything and let our Germ trade with a bunch of stuff. And if it trades with a bunch of stuff, then we're potentially still alive. That said, they played a Scurry of Gremlins and we died anyway. So... But yeah, I think we needed to try and kill them, and we didn't, and we died. So, yep. Alright, this game, we're missing white mana. We have a Brood Scale. If we don't draw white mana, we'll be very sad. If we get to curve out anyway, it's not the worst. Let's see if they want to trade their Dryad. I assume they don't. If they did, we just adapt and get our spawn token and trade. So Plains is the best draw. Landscape that gets white is the second best draw. I think all of our landscapes are green-white. I think we have 1 or 2. And then white cards are bad. Other than Witch Enchanter. Witch Enchanter counts as a Plains. I would take a Witch Enchanter. White cards are bad, I said. I heard me. I know I said it. Anyway, attack with these 2 things. Opponent, no block, take 5. Makes sense. Here's a Hydra Trainer. We can still adapt if we want to. I think I'd rather keep the spawn token around. Opponent showing Jund colors. Let's see. nothing. They can rebuy a landscape. That's fine. Chthonian Nightmare. Okay. That's a problem. We can keep trying to trade. They have mana up to activate the Witness. They have Nightmare to loop the Witness. That's not good. Alright, in. Not attacking with the Hydra Trainer yet. I can't imagine they block with the Dryad. I could totally see them blocking with the Witness, adapting, just getting another land drop, and then next turn flipping Chthonian Nightmare for the Witness back. Yeah. So if we do nothing, they don't have to do anything. They probably want to adapt here. Okay. Fair enough. So the Razorgrass Ambush. That's a white card in there so far Jundit deck. Glad we didn't spend mana to adapt, since it apparently wouldn't have worked out. But yeah, we are sorely lacking on our colored mana. Mana in general, but that's okay. Yep. So there's the Witness, getting back the landscape, I guess. Land for turn. Yep. Fanatic of Ronas, sure. I don't believe there are any creatures in the graveyard just yet, so they can't flip with Chthonian Nightmare. Alright, we found the white source, so that's good. So with the Witness already being adapted, we could take this opportunity to blow up the Nightmare. In a perfect world, they trade off their Witness, and then we blow up the Nightmare. Yep, bonk bonk. Our Repurposer turns into a spawn, and then we blow up the Nightmare. And now, theoretically, we have stopped the potential loops of Nightmare and Witness. So that's nice. We kind of needed that. Our opponent does have access to a bunch of mana here. 5 in play plus 2 mana dorks. And if they play a big fella, then 1 mana dork goes absolutely nutso. Priest of Titania, so even more mana. Opponent has 4 colors and a lot of mana, and that's scary. Alright, so we adapt our Hydra Trainer. We continue to have a pair of 3/3s, sure. Do we exert, or do we just attack? I don't think exerting really does anything here. Exerting lets us attack with a spawn token, I guess. Okay, never mind. No exerting. Which means no attacking, because the 1/4 just checks us. So, unless we're attacking with 2 or more creatures, it's not worth attacking. Opponent still doing nothing, us still drawing forests. We attack with a pair of 3/3s. They check 1. Honestly, at this point, they probably trade with 1. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they've got their colors and their mana figured out, so we play another 3/3, pass the turn. Again, we need a pair of 3/3s in play to be able to attack, and one of them gets checked and one of them has to be dealt with either by chumping or taking it. So, mana, interesting. Okay, red, green. They're digging through their graveyard. Okay, victimize. That's not great. So victimize gets back the witness, which gets back the nightmare. Yeah, okay. Um, that's awkward. Watchdog is fine. Okay, well, I don't really want to trade here since we know that they're going to be able to have Nightmare. Yeah. Yeah. Everything's terrible. Okay. So that wasn't like a victimize that just put bomb creatures into play, but it was a victimize that basically got an engine rolling that now I'm probably going to be too far behind to catch back up to. I've already used my real piece of removal. I can't really block this witness because I don't want it to die because it just comes back and gets to rebuy other creatures. Yep. So we can sacrifice the gargoyle just to get back a random tutor in the graveyard. It's just a priest, but still. The gargoyle gets flying so it can get in for one every turn. Yup. Yup, yup. Um, is that better or worse for me? It's makes three of their creatures have more power. Makes four of their creatures have more power. One of them stays the same. Two of them stay the same. One of mine shrinks. Three of mine grow. It's kind of 50-50. Yeah. This is not great. But we don't have any other plays, so it's not like we're doing anything. Opponent seemingly with very many of the same type of creatures that I have, which means Kudo is not bad for them either. Again, we could block, we could trade with this Watchdog, but trading with the Watchdog doesn't accomplish anything because they just get it back. Okay. I'm not sure what I need to draw here to get out of this. It might have to be like Nyxborn Hydra, but even then they have the Death Touching Dryad, so we can't really be attacking. Like I could put the Nyxborn Hydra onto like my Watchdog. X equals what, 2, 4, up to 6, up to 7? Yeah. Land ain't gonna do it, and I have no way through or to stop this board. Yeah, that was a tough little mirror match. That opponent playing like a really cool Abzan deck got a lot of use out of that Chthonian Nightmare and Evolution Witness. Yeah, that was. I don't know what I really could have done differently specifically that game, other than Mulligan, potentially. We kept a hand that had no white mana and then sat and kind of dirtled for a while, hoping to find white mana. And unfortunately, it took a little longer than I would have liked. But barring that, I think we were just kind of like barring mulliganing and just playing a completely different game that we don't know what we would have drawn. I think that game just didn't really work out. We drew a lot of lands at the end of the game, and opponent's engine was online, so it is what it is. And then again, the one where against the Boros deck with double Scurry, we needed to present lethal. We needed to find the out of seeing if opponent played around Signature Slam and how, if at all, they would have played around Signature Slam. If they block with a lot of their creatures to make sure that they don't take damage, then we get to kind of either win that combat or trade off that combat, where we lose a germ token, but they have to lose multiple creatures in order to make that true, in order to make that happen. Or if they don't respect a combat trick and they don't block with more than one creature, they potentially just die on the spot. And I think we needed to present that option and put our opponent to the test of seeing if they play around a combat trick or how they play around a combat trick. Again, playing around it wrong and either not blocking enough or blocking too much. Either one potentially sets us up to be able to try to win over the following turns if they can't kill us on the crackback. Again, they drew another Scurry or had another Scurry in hand, so it's possible that we die anyway. But if our opponent messes up that block, then we potentially win that game, and then we're looking at 4-1 rather than ending this one out 3-3. So, or 4-3 and whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks for watching. This deck was pretty cool. The Kudo King Among Bears played out really cool in a couple of those games. Unfortunately, in that last game, we were behind. We were top decking. It happened to be the card we top decked, and it was not good for us. So it is what it is. Have a great day. We'll catch you in the next one.